Hey everyone, hope you all had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on March 20th. And as always, we are not financial advisors and everything you see on here is for educational purposes only. All right, let's get started with BTC. So as you can see here, we went up to retest the fib line and it's getting rejected once again. It was actually pretty interesting because it had such a nice little pump overnight. Like it came down and then just completely got bought up. And I'm starting to feel like it's only being bought up because all these like hype about 1 million Bitcoin, 1 million Bitcoin. Those people are crazy. Those people are just trying to make people FOMO in. But just to recap, since our last free update, we were on the 6th, so we were somewhere down here. We kept talking about how we could drop back down, and we actually did. We finally dropped back down. We knocked out a bunch of our targets. My area was I think 2100, and then it was like 19800, and we dropped completely to that spot. Now, based off of this, it landed on a strong reversal fib, and I mentioned, hey, we have these 2 arrow targets here. I made a video saying, hey, you know what? I think we're going to bounce all the way back up, which we did. Then we had another fib line, which I mentioned, hey, if we break above this, we're going to go to the top trend line. We broke here, went straight to the top trend line, came back down. Here I thought it would actually drop all the way back down to the bottom trend line and do something like reverse head and shoulders, but we didn't. We actually pumped through the top trend line, and now we're just kind of riding the top of the trend line, which Bitcoin likes to do. In this area, I talked about how we could do something like this where we went up, we kind of dropped down, came back up. So we went up, dropped back down, came back up. So now we can kind of do some sideways for a bit. So it goes sideways, which Bitcoin likes to ride the trend line. It's kind of like here, but it's probably going to be on the opposite side. It'll stay on top, have a nice little drop, and then kind of just go sideways for like 2 months until we touch this trend line. And then, we know what happens next in the pattern. And that's actually what I see now. Right now, it looks like it's getting rejected. It came down all the way down to 27, like 100 area. And I talked about how, we could drop down to 2760. So a little bit off, but again, still right there. Now, what's interesting here is, as long as we stay below the trend line, we should go sideways and then have a nice little drop. It won't be a big drop like this. It'll still be a big drop. You're talking about like from average, it'll drop something like 8% on Bitcoin, and that's gonna double with all the alts. Now, if we look at the dollar, it looks like it's pushing down to the 101 target that we had because there's a gap right here. And we also left a gap here, but we went up, but we didn't actually touch it. We stayed a little bit below. So maybe we head down and then we head back up. So as it's going down, Bitcoin will go sideways. And as this comes back up, it will, make Bitcoin come back down. So that will go sideways and then drop back down. So we could go sideways for a few days. Remove all this. Obviously, we're going to watch it. We got to make sure we don't close above that trend line because then that would definitely break it. Which, this one over here does look like a little bit higher. So we would go sideways, break a little bit above it, and then come back down. And then do like a little U shape. And as far as like the alts, Atom went up, didn't hit its white fib. So remember when we landed here, we knew we were going to do a temporary reversal down and then come back up. When it came back up, it didn't touch it. So this target still holds. When we look at Matic, since our last update, we talked about how Matic had dropped to 106. Guess what? We dropped all the way down past it, all the way down to 94. Came back up. Solana's one that didn't touch its target. So I can see Solana come back up to the top trend line, which is like 26, and then eventually have to come back down. And it's just building like, a reverse flag in a sense, right? It's like the flag but in reverse. So it's going to go all the way up and then come all the way back down. And that's when I see Bitcoin doing its big old drop. Ethereum pushed up nicely. And Ethereum came all the way down right to my area, how I talked about. It's a little off, but I mean, it's close enough. And this is something we talked about before in the video. And so there's little 2 crosses here, bounce it right back up. Now, Ethereum still has a target at 1075. So it's going to be pretty interesting to watch it come back down there. Phantom came down, hit our target of 37 cents, pushed back up. What's interesting here is XRP went up, hit a white fib, now doing a temporary reverse, coming back down below this trend line. But this white fib means it has to come back up here eventually. So it's a temporary reversal, has to come back up to 0.3995. And today's when the ISO coins, supposedly, well, not the coins, but like the software goes live. So we'll see how that, there hasn't really been too much reaction based off of that. As far as Luna, we failed it. It didn't really pump like it was supposed to in this area. It actually dropped back down. I came back in there and I posted on it. I'm like, you know what? I think I actually miscalculated, but I'm not going to touch too much on that. I want to make sure it follows through first, because I don't want to be chasing, a coin and think like, oh, it's going to FOMO. It's going to pump. It's going to pump. At that point, I'm just FOMOing. Rose came back down, hit its target, and right where the resistance at, pushed back up. Now, what's interesting with Shiba has a second arrow target at 1318. So I see Shiba coming back up to this area. It's all going to depend on how much Bitcoin drops, because we can bounce. Like if Bitcoin goes sideways for a few days, it can bounce, come back up. But if we get below this trend line, it's definitely coming back down to its support area, which is around 910. So we'll put 910 on there. And there's a few other coins that I had that came down. Zil came down to its target, came back up. Where's my data? Where's data? Where's data? Oh, here it is. Data came down to its target as well, to the 86 cents perfectly too, and then bounced right back up. We actually hit this target over here, so I can delete that. So I'm going to delete all these targets since we already hit them. But overall, Bitcoin's kind of going sideways, dropping back down. And then another one people like to see is Paul. Let's look at Paul real quick. And I kind of posted a while back, one of our members had a really cool fractal where it was going to show it's going to pump back up. But I posted it would kind of go downward. And as you can see, it's kind of slowly going downward. It looks like a lot of the hype on Paul has gone away. So, I would say, hey, let's look for the next cool one that's going to pump, right? Instead of trying to chase a coin that we're still trying to hold on to these hopes and dreams and stuff like that. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We're just going to wait to see if we break above or we drop back down. I expect us to go sideways for a few days and then finally drop and then just go sideways for like 2-3 months. And then it's going to get a little interesting. But other than that, I will see everybody on the next update or in the Discord. Now, if you're trying to get more information on the market, if you want to stay up to date with the market or just looking for a good community, in the description below, I did post my link to my website, which is tindicator.com. In here, you can find a link to Ko-fi or Patreon, which will give you access to the premium side of this channel and group. So I have 2 levels. I have that really stand out. I have the peace of mind and I have the edge. And the reason that I named these names is because it's kind of what you get out of it, right? On the peace of mind, you do get peace of mind when it comes to the market. You're not going to be surprised. You're not going to be shocked with what's going on. Just the other day, I sent out an alert on a signal talking about, hey, the market looks like it's going to dump. Somebody triggered something that kind of lets me know, hey, there's going to be a big drop. And, 15 minutes later, big old drop happened. And then the same thing happened back over here. So nobody in the room's like, oh, surprise, oh, we dropped back down, right? And this is why I call it peace of mind, because you do get that peace of mind out of it. Then I have the edge tier, which the reason I call it edge, because you get the edge on the market, right? You're not just going to be blindly going into the market and not knowing what's going to happen. And I'm going to go over these tiers right now. So with the, sorry, I almost said edge, but with the peace of mind, you get access to the crypto room here. Edge also includes this, but you just get a little more. So you get, access to market updates. We have our general chat. We have our crypto chat where everybody talks about what's going on. We have daily play. This is where I post all of my stuff. So my stuff won't get buried in, a chat room where no one can see it. For the edge tier, you actually get access to the Zoom scheduler. So you can actually schedule one-on-one Zooms with me so we can go over your portfolio, certain coins you're interested in, you just weren't sure about it. Some people have had issues with their wallets. I help them recover that. I've had people who just want to vent. Sometimes we just talk about certain things and, it helps them calm with the market, so they're not too upset with what's going on. You know, maybe they got into a meme coin that's down 95% or anything like that. So it's really cool, and a lot of my members love this. We also have the newsroom where we post newsworthy information. Planned orders is where you can see what people are buying or selling. We have our group zooms every now and then. Hidden gems room where people post unique coins that are just coming out. Passive income room for staking and all that stuff. We have a marketplace where people are buying and selling from each other. Tips and links in here, so there's a lot of links for like good cool YouTube videos that you can watch about stop losses, technical analysis. In here's where I always put the newest signal link, and the signal link is one thing I recommend for everybody, because this is where I'll send you emergency alerts. Like if I see the market's about to dump, I will send a message here that's separate from all your other messaging apps. So that way, because a lot of people like to keep everything else muted, because sometimes people are posting too much, and this is the one that you can leave on, and this will let you know like, hey, this is emergency. Like, hey, we're about to pump, we're about to dump, or hey, something big is gonna happen. Then we have charts where you can actually see what people are requesting. If you're on the edge tier, you're allowed to actually request. If you are on the peace of mind, you can only view what other people are requesting. But here you can actually request all the coins you want to see. So I post them here, corresponding to the alphabet. And some of these will be like this. Someone talked about 1. Well, now you know that 1 has to drop back down to 0.013. So if you were looking to buy this coin, I would suggest waiting until it drops to that price before getting in. Because you don't want to get in and it's going to drop back down to this price. And now you would have wished you held off. So you get that advantage, you get that edge right off the market, because now you know when to get in and when not to get in. Another one that we were talking about, and I actually need to do a separate video on this because I didn't add it to the main video, but down here I mentioned, hey, so a member actually showed us this coin, and down here I mentioned, hey, you know what, this thing's about to take off. And it did take off. Once we were up here to this area, I was like, hey, you know what, this could probably be the top. And I drew this area here where we can drop back down to, and look, we barely missed it before it came back up. Now I'm going to update them on this shortly. And then down here we have, a place for woo-woo in case you're into conspiracy stuff or anything like that. We have a astrology room, we have a spiritual room, and then we have 2 other rooms right here. These are our little kept secrets. We won't go into it too much. We also have a free trading room, so if you know anybody that actually is into trading, also, the link is in the description below. If you're on the edge tier, you actually get an additional room where it gives you additional coins instead of just the free ones. But yep, that kind of breaks down my 2 levels of the premium. So again, if you want to stay up to date, I suggest joining us. We have a really good community. Everybody helps everybody out here. Nobody FOMOs, nobody's upset, nobody is shocked by what's going on with the market. I've had members even tell me, like, sometimes it's kind of boring because we already know what's going to happen, right? There's not that like feeling of like not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, right? It's like, oh, what's going to happen? Is it going to go up? It's going to go down? We kind of already know what's going to go, like, right? And if we know we're going to drop and it goes up, we know it's going to come right back down. So if you made it this long, thank you for staying this long, and maybe I hope to see you in the room.